Today we'll
Hiya.
Maya. Hi Maya. How are you?
I'm doing great. Just feeling that Sunday morning energy. How's your morning treating you?
Good. So now today I will answer the question on the topic like Earth, the history of our home in the world.
Ooh, sounds like a big topic for a Sunday. What's the specific angle you're tackling?
Okay. So my first question is, what is Earth and how did it begin?
I'm ready. Let's dive in. Basically, Earth is our own little pocket of stability in a very chaotic universe. It's a terrestrial planet, which is fancy talk for made of rock and metal, rather than being a giant ball of gas. But the beginning, that was way less stable. About 4.5 billion years ago, our solar system started as a giant swirling cloud of gas and dust called a solar nebula. Gravity did its thing, pulling most of that mass into the center to create the sun, and the leftovers kept spinning around it like a cosmic record. Over time, these bits of dust and rock started colliding and sticking together, kind of like how a snowball grows as you roll it. Eventually, these clumps became planetesimals, which just kept crashing into each other until we had a molten, glowing ball of heat. It was absolute chaos for a while, but as Earth slowly cooled, a solid crust formed, and the stage was set for everything else to happen. How does that sound for a starting point? Do you want to dig deeper into the molten phase, or
Oh, okay.
should we move
So
on to the next question?
okay. So how is
Hmm?
how was Earth formed billions of years ago?
You got me. I basically just gave you the highlight reel, but let me reframe it. Think of it as a giant cosmic vacuum. You have a massive cloud of dust and gas, and once the sun ignited in the middle, the rest of the debris was just sucked into this orbiting dance. Those tiny grains of dust literally smashed into each other at insane speeds until they became rocks, then boulders, then finally this glowing ball of lava we call home. Does that click a bit better, or should we just jump to your next question?
Okay. So now, like,
Ready?
when did ocean first appear on Earth?
Coming right up. Ocean showed up quite a while after that initial glowing ball of lava cooled down, likely around 4 billion years ago. It was actually a team effort between the inside and outside of the planet. As Earth cooled, volcanoes were basically burping out massive amounts of water vapor and other gases from the interior. Once the atmosphere cooled enough, that vapor condensed into clouds and just dumped. We're talking about rains that lasted for thousands, maybe millions of years, filling up the lowest basins until we had the first global oceans. It's wild to think that the water we're using today might have been steamed out of the planet's guts billions of years ago.
Okay, so now what was the first life on Earth like?
That's a huge one. We're talking single celled microbes, specifically prokaryotes, basically tiny, simple organisms that didn't have a nucleus. There's still a huge debate over exactly where they started, but the leading theory is that they emerged around 4 billion years ago, likely deep in the ocean near hydrothermal vents where the chemistry was just right. It's pretty wild to think that for the first few billion years of Earth's history, the only things around were these invisible specks. When we get to these, do you think they were a fluke of nature, or just an inevitable part of how the planet evolved?
Okay, so
Fair
now
enough.
yeah, now tell me, when did dinosaurs live on Earth?
Coming right up. That happened about 66 million years ago, and it was basically the worst day ever for anything big. An asteroid the size of a city slammed into the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, which was a catastrophic amount of energy. It threw up so much dust and soot that it literally blocked out the sun for years. Plants died, the herbivores starved, and the carnivores were next. But wait, there's a plot twist. While the asteroid gets all the credit, there were also massive volcanic eruptions happening in India around the same time, which pumped the atmosphere full of carbon dioxide. It was a double whammy of climate chaos that the giants just couldn't handle. And the irony is, while the T Rex was gone, these tiny, scrappy little mammals were hiding in the underbrush, probably thinking they'd finally caught a break.
Okay, so now tell me what caused the dinosaur to disappear?
Wait, didn't I just spill that? I just broke down the whole disaster for you. Unless you want the deeper dive into the volcanoes versus asteroid debate.
Tell me when did human first appear on Earth?
Oof, that one is a bit of a riddle. I think something got lost in translation there. Are you asking about when humans first showed up on the scene?
Yeah.
The humans' story is a bit of a slow burn. We didn't just show up overnight. Early ancestors of humans, called hominids, started splitting off from other apes millions of years ago. But the version of us you're looking for, Homo sapiens, only appeared about 300,000 years ago in Africa. It's wild to think that, in the grand scheme of Earth history, we've only been around for a tiny blink of an eye. That's a lot of time to think about while you're doing your recording.
Okay, so now tell
Any more?
how did early humans live? How did early humans
Wait,
live?
did you? I'm losing you on this one. It sounds like your mic is cutting out or some words are getting scrambled. What was that last part?
Yeah, I'm saying that how did early humans live?
They basically lived in survival mode. Imagine a total team effort. They spent their days as nomad hunters and gatherers, moving with the seasons to follow food sources. They lived in small, tight knit groups because you just couldn't survive alone out there. They shared everything from the fire they kept alive at night to the shelter of a cave or a simple brush hut. It was all about instincts, tool making, and figuring out which berries would keep them alive and which ones would be a disaster. And it was a tough life, but it's also where we learned how to cooperate and think on our feet. How's that landing for your recording?
Okay, so now tell me when did humans learn to control fire?
That was a total game changer. It's actually a bit of a debate among scientists, but the general consensus is that our ancestors started getting a handle on fire anywhere from 1 to 2 million years ago. Homo erectus is usually credited as the one who figured it out. It wasn't just about staying warm either. It let them cook food, which meant they got way more energy from their meals. That extra fuel is actually one of the theories for why human brains started growing so much larger. Imagine the first time someone figured out how to keep a flame going instead of just running away from a lightning strike.
Okay, so now tell me like how did farming change human history?
It basically turned our entire world upside down. Once we figured out how to plant seeds instead of just chasing them, everything shifted. We stopped wandering and started building permanent homes, which led to the first villages and eventually the first cities. Because we had a steady food supply, the population exploded, and not everyone had to spend every waking second hunting. That's when we saw the rise of specialized jobs like weavers or builders, and unfortunately, the first real social hierarchies and power struggles. It was the moment we stopped adapting to nature and started forcing nature to adapt to us. Next stop on the timeline?
Okay, so
Haha, glad you're liking it.
now tell me how did humans explore different parts of Earth and how did the first civilization begin?
It was essentially the first great adventure. It started with early humans venturing out of Africa, pushed by curiosity and a need for food. They took this winding path across Asia and Europe over hundreds of thousands of years, learning to survive in everything from frozen tundras to tropical jungles. They weren't just wandering, though they were figuring out how to communicate and cooperate on a global scale. All that exploration led them to a sweet spot called the Fertile Crescent in the Middle East around 10,000 years ago. Between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, they finally stopped moving and started building. That's where the first true civilizations, like Sumer, really took root. I've got a few things on how those first cities actually functioned if you want them for the video.
Okay, so now tell me, like, how did humans explore? Sorry, how did the Industrial Revolution change our planet?
It basically traded horses for horsepower. Everything shifted from handmade to machine made, and we swapped the countryside for crowded cities to be near the factories. It gave us insane growth and technology, but it also kicked off the climate struggles we're still dealing with today.
Okay,
What's the
so
final
like,
chapter for your recording?
yeah, yeah. How have humans changed Earth environment?
It's been a pretty drastic makeover, to be honest. We've essentially gone from adapting to the world to reshaping it to fit us. It started with clearing forests for those first farms we talked about, but since the Industrial Revolution, it's accelerated. We've built massive concrete jungles, diverted entire rivers, and shifted the chemistry of the atmosphere. It's a heavy realization, but it's the most significant mark we've left. Do you feel like that wraps things up for your recording, or is there one more piece of the puzzle?
Okay, so now tell me, what is climate change?
Basically, it's the planet's thermostat getting bumped up. Think of it as a giant blanket. Greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane trap heat in the atmosphere to keep Earth warm enough for us to survive. But because of things like burning fossil fuels and deforestation, we've essentially made that blanket way too thick. Now, the planet is trapping more heat than it should, which is what causes the glacier melts, more extreme storms, and those unpredictable weather patterns we've been seeing lately.
Okay, so what are some major environmental problems today?
It's a tough list, but pollution is probably the biggest headline. We've got mountains of plastic in the oceans and massive deforestation that's wiping out biodiversity. On top of that, you have things like overfishing and soil degradation that basically risk our own food security.
Okay, so now tell me, like, how has space exploration changed our understanding of Earth? Hey, Maya. Hey.